in this picture we can see the secret of his successes. So what actually helps him to be and as the driver of their capacity. So what we see here is the very clear border of the latissimus dorsi. So we will look here anatomically. So latissimus dorsi is here. So that's a very special, very interesting and very important muscle if we talk about the possible compensations. So this muscle is actually flat. It's very interesting that it's flat. And through this flatness, it covers the large region. So what do we need to know about it? So first point is that we have to understand that this is a muscle which is very long, right? You see it goes all the way from the arm to the sacrum. So effectively it connects the arm with the bottom of the torso. So you might have, as a result of this, a person who has a very weak torso but has some sort of a connection, which I call this kite, right? So the kite connection, which includes the latissimus dorsi and the trapezius, and using this kite, you can sort of cover the whole thing and then use the arms to power the rest of the body. So it's quite frequently used compensation, and that's why it's not a surprise, but it's very important to understand that this is a compensation. This is the recruitment of the latissimus dorsi. So this is the kite which allows for the execution of the movements, which could be seen as a kind of prematurely. So meaning that when the child is small, when there is no weight, when there is no real size, when there are no biomechanical challenges, using this kite, you can do all sorts of tricks. So you can deliver the fake walking, you can deliver the fake sitting, you can deliver the fake crawling, creeping, and all sorts of things. So, and that's really the main trap. Right, so you see, this is the trap that most of the parents fall into. So they confuse the look-alike, they confuse the fake with the true. And that's, in the when the child is small, that leads to some fake impressions of progress. But then when the child gets bigger, 6, 7, so and the proportions start to change and the weight increases, then this kite is not sufficient to do the functions. So this is really the big question. So the big question for you. So what are we going to do? Are we going to be strategic, and are we going to use this golden period, and the age between 2 and 5 is indeed the golden period of the child's rehabilitation? What are we going to do? Are we going to chase the sort of short sell, like selling the milestones and trying to get, oh wow, like we are practicing walking or something like this, which kind of gives you short-term immediate gratification? So that's what I call the fast food of rehabilitation. Fast food, so the McDonald's or whichever other thing. Or are we going to go for the proper, the necessities of the rehabilitation? Because the same period between 2 and 5 is really a great period to develop the true foundations, the true elements, because the child is still small, there's still good access to the torso and so on, there are no distortions and so on and so forth. So it's a great period. But unfortunately, most parents fall for this, fast food rehabilitation, start chasing the fake standing, fake walking, fake crawling, and so on, and they fall into this trap. So what I'm trying to make sure is that at least that you are aware of this trap. And with ABR, our focus would be on the fundamentals. Like we really want you to help you to get the best out of this unique period, and we want you to be strategic. We want you to be strategic and to understand that, if you want the development, you need the foundational processes, right? Not the milestones, right? The whole idea of milestones is deeply flawed, because when you are looking at those milestones, or like we sort of standing or with support, or we are walking with support, so the idea itself is completely flawed, and it's easy to self-deceive yourself. So the key point is to understand what are the key processes, of the counterbalancing, of the control of the center of mass, of the control of the grip to the ground, of the control of the counter movements, the control of the undulations and so on. So the key processes, that's what we should be looking at, right? So, and that's really the foundational part. This is really where we are looking at the strategic, if you want, that's our whatever organic wholesome food, the wholesome nutrition equivalent, right? So versus the fast food, fast fix, that is a uh, typical rehabilitation process that happens in the period from 2 to 5, or actually from 1 to 5, right? To be precise. So key processes. That's what we will be looking for, and that's what be the central message of my entire explanation. So trying to help you not to fall into the trap of the fast food, trying to understand the true strengths of your child. So you see, when you don't have the transitions from lying to sitting and standing, and he's not doing these transitions, like getting into the quadruped position and so on, so you should stop any encouragement for things like covering distances. So no mileages, no locomotion, right? So you see, locomotion covering mileage and distances, that's not for you. Because the more you start training the child and getting the child into mileage, it's going to be extremely difficult to return into this training. But if you don't do those components, you're going nowhere, and you will end up in that 90% of the people who do the fake walking at the age of 5 and have nothing by the age of 15, or probably much earlier than that. So this is what you really have to understand very, very clearly.